Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rich Pfeiffer, Managing Deputy Director of Operations for the Chicago Office of Emergency Management Communications. We're here today to discuss the planning and preparation ahead of the Pride Fest this weekend and Pride Parade next weekend to ensure that these events are safe and enjoyable for residents, participants, and attendees. Joining me today are Chicago Police Superintendents Eddie Johnson, Assistant Special Agent in Charge John Brown from the FBI, Chicago Police Commander Robert Cesario of the 19th District, Deputy Fire Commissioner Mark Nielsen, Chicago Fire Department, 44th Ward Alderman Tom Tunney, 46th Ward Alderman James Cappleman, 43rd Ward Alderman Michelle Smith, Commissioner Mona Noriega from the Chicago Commission on Human Relations, Rich Pfeiffer, Pride Parade Coordinator, Christopher Barrett Politan, Executive Director of Northalsted Business Alliance, and Maureen Martino, Executive Director of the East Lakeview Chamber of Commerce. We have always prepared and coordinated extensively for the Pride Parade due to the large crowds, heavy usage of public transportation, and the possibility of extreme weather. That means we already have an existing plan in place, which we have built upon this year. OEMC and the Chicago Police Department have met several times over the last week, and we have adjusted resources and increased security measures so that the focus can remain on what Pride Fest and Pride Parade are all about, the celebration of our LGBT community. We work hard to plan for a safe and enjoyable event for participants and attendees, but we also work equally hard to minimize the impact on those who live and work in a community that may not attend these events. The upcoming Pride Fest will take place this weekend on Halsted and will feature world-class entertainment as the premier event leading up to the 47th Annual Pride Parade. Some street closures will be in place, which will impact traffic in the area. The following weekend will feature Chicago's annual Pride Parade. You'll hear more from Superintendent Johnson shortly, but some of the resource adjustments and increased security measures we have made for the event include opening the Emergency Operations Center, which will be staffed by the city's public safety and operational departments, working with organizers to reduce the number of entries from 215 to 160 to make the event more manageable, and have also increased private security staff, increasing barricades along the parade route for participant and attendee safety, modifying the route over the last few years to alleviate crowd congestion, implementing clearer routes for emergency responders to reach medical tents, adding CTA bus and rail service to ease congestion on public transportation, addressing overcrowding issues on porches and rooftops during the event by assigning personnel from the Department of Buildings and the Police Department assigned to the forward command post. While we are making every effort, as always, on behalf of the city to help make this a successful event, we continually ask the public to do their part and report suspicious activity by calling 911. Some unusual behavior or observations may be innocent. However, it's up to law enforcement to determine whether a situation warrants investigation. As always, we strongly encourage taking public transportation. Parking restrictions will be in place and strictly enforced, so residents and visitors to the area should pay attention to signage and call 311 if your vehicle is towed. Street closures will go into effect as early as 8 a.m. for staging, and parade route closures could begin as early as 9:30 a.m. or as the crowd dictates for public safety. Streets are expected to fully reopen by 8 p.m. or when deemed safe to do so. A significant amount of traffic control aides will be assigned to assist with traffic management. Weather for these events is typically hot and sunny, so we advise everyone to plan accordingly and stay hydrated. As a reminder, numerous special events will take place throughout the city on both weekends, which will draw large crowds and cause impacts to traffic. Finally, we look forward to celebrating the accomplishments of our LGBT community at Pride Fest and the Pride Parade, as we also honor the lives of those lost and injured in Orlando. And now I ask Superintendent Johnson to say a few words.
Good afternoon. Throughout the year, the Chicago Police Department works in close coordination with city agencies, our partners in law enforcement, aldermen, and the community to ensure the safety and security of visitors to major events that take place in the city of Chicago. Starting this weekend, the city will be hosting one of the largest events of the year, the 47th Annual Pride Fest, followed by the Pride Parade on June 26th. Now, we all know that there's a lot of focus on these events, given the horrific incident that occurred in Orlando earlier this week. I want to take this opportunity to repeat what we know and what we've been saying. That there is no intelligence or threat against the LGBTQ community or any event in the city of Chicago. Nevertheless, visitors can expect to see an increased presence of uniformed Chicago police officers at these events, patrolling the 19th district, surrounding neighborhoods, and at the CTA transportation hubs. Additionally, CPD will have officers on bike, civilian dressed officers throughout the events, specially trained canines, and will set up a joint agency information center. I'd also like to thank Alderman Tunney and the local business and community groups that have come together with us to coordinate our plans. It represents community policing in its finest form. These steps and the coordination between everyone standing here represents an abundance of caution, and CPD is committed to making sure everyone enjoys the upcoming events in safety. Most importantly, if you see something suspicious, please call 911. I'd like to introduce now Acting Special Agent in Charge of FBI, John Brown.
Good afternoon, thank you. First off, the FBI wants to say thank you for allowing us to participate in this press conference. We work very closely with the Chicago Police Department to establish security measures for this event. The safety and security of the people of Northern Illinois is our highest priority, pure and simple. The FBI only shares information with our law enforcement partners, openly shares information, and will act upon threat information as comes to our attention. We are not aware of any known threat to the annual Pride Parade or to Northern Illinois at this time, so just to echo what the superintendent said. We investigate and protect the civil rights of all citizens. But again, to echo, we want folks to call. If you see something, say something. Call the FBI, call the Chicago Police Department, call your local law enforcement. But pure and simple, we need folks out there, eyes and ears, to call so we can, if there are any threats, that we know about it. Okay? I'll turn over to Alderman Tunney.
Thank you, and good afternoon. This is going to be the 47th Pride Parade, and over the years, and especially over the last couple of years, we've made some changes in order to accommodate this as a neighborhood parade. We've changed the route, we've reduced the number of entries. We've actually asked the politicians to work as one group instead of like 20. So we're all going to be working together to keep our neighborhood safe and to keep the parade in the neighborhood. I do want to say that last year we developed a relatively new policy about drinking on the public way and increased the fines. And I heard from our neighborhood that that was a very good thing. And it gets me to the overall theme that I believe should be happening for this next 10 days. And some people have said a moment of silence for the Orlando tragedy. I'm asking for a week, a day of respect for each other as individuals, gay and straight, respect for law enforcement, respect for the neighborhood that has been so tolerant over the 40-some years of hosting this parade. Many of you know that this parade was potentially moving out as a neighborhood parade. That decision has been made and will continue, but trust me, it is not a permanent, necessarily decision on behalf of CPD, Homeland Security, Mayor's Office, and such. So I urge all Chicagoans and suburbanites and tourists that if we can do anything to remember the tragedy in Orlando is self-respect, respect for the city, respect for law enforcement, and abide by the rules to keep this successful, safe, and a major tourist attraction for the city of Chicago. People will talk about details. My message is sobriety, less alcohol, less displays of immaturity. Get home safely, get home at a reasonable hour, and let's get this neighborhood back to the residents of Lakeview and get people home safely. That's my message. Respect should be the theme of what the next 10 days should be as you send your message out in your media outlets. and I'm very serious, people have mimicked this idea of a moment of this, a moment of that. Let's make this parade the most successful, safe parade that respects us as individuals, gay and straight, businesses and residents, and specifically law enforcement in a time where law enforcement needs all the support that we can as individuals and elected officials. And by the way, our colleagues here, James Cappleman, Michelle Smith, and our state rep, Sarah Feigenholz, we're all residents of the parade route, and we really want this to stay in our neighborhood, in our city, and to be even more successful than it's ever been before. Thank you. And Mona? Mona Noriega.
Thank you, Tom. Good afternoon. I'm Mona Noriega, Commissioner and Chairman of the Commission on Human Relations. The Commission actively works to protect the civil rights of every individual and to address bigotry and discrimination of any group of people in Chicago. We are here today to talk about Chicago's annual Pride Parade and weekend. The Pride celebration and the entire month of June means so much to the LGBT community. For more than 40 years, the Pride has marked a vibrant national celebration of equal rights and freedom for the LGBT community and for all communities, no matter how you identify or who it is that you love. The Pride Parade has also come to mark a celebration of what makes us all unique and our freedom to express whatever it is that makes us unique. This year's Pride will take on a very special meaning. This year, most importantly, we will honor our brothers and sisters lost in the tragedy in Orlando, Florida. And we will tell the world that we will not be intimidated by an attack on our values of freedom and inclusion, and that in the face of hate, we stand united. As we heal in the wake of the tragedy in Orlando, we will come together again, this time stronger. This year, we look forward to celebrating our values of inclusion and love with Chicagoans and with visitors from around the world who flock to the Pride Parade in Chicago every year. What makes our parade so successful each year is support by community leaders like Rich Pfeiffer, the City of Chicago, Mayor Emanuel, who put in tireless work every day to make sure our city is inclusive for everyone. I especially want to thank our first responders and our city safety teams for the work they do each year to make the parade as safe for all of us to enjoy. This year, on our 47th annual Pride Parade, I look forward to marching with the mayor and all the out loud and beautiful participants as we honor the Pulse community, family, and friends of those who lost their lives in Orlando. I get to introduce our Pride Parade coordinator, Richard Pfeiffer, and Christopher Barrett, Executive Director of Northalsted Business Alliance.
My name is Rich Pfeiffer. I'm the parade coordinator. I can only reiterate what Alderman Tunney and what everybody else said. In our communities, we were so devastated by the loss of 49 of our brothers and sisters. I'm in tears right now. We want this parade to be special this year. We are going to be having a moment of silence at the beginning of the parade. And one new added thing this year is we're going to have the photos or the names of the 49 people that were murdered in South Florida. And that's being put together by Windy City Times and ChicagoPride.com, two different publications in Chicago. So we will have the photos and or the names of 49 people. But in commemorating all those brothers and sisters that we lost, we also have to celebrate. And I would reiterate the fact that we're not going to let ISIL, we're not going to let anybody else keep us down or put us down. We're going to be out there celebrating who we are, our differences. We identify as LGBTQI. I mean, that's why around the country we use the term pride parades. People have said, well, why did you drop gay or why did you drop lesbian? Because so many people in our various communities identify in so many different ways, and we want to be inclusive of all those communities. On the day of our parade this year, you're going to see 12 major pride parades around the country. We're the third largest in the country. We have, I believe, within our impacted area, 1 million people. That's a lot of people. There's two other cities that are larger than us. So we have a lot of people into the community. But we're not going to go back into the closet. We're going to be out there in love and peace. We have community businesses, community organizations. We have our elected officials that are there. And we're going to be there in unity, even within the LGBT community. Sometimes we don't agree with each other, and sometimes we fight like other communities around the country. But for that day, and especially this year, we're going to be united, we're going to stand, we're going to be proud of who we are. And And we want a good, safe, hopefully alcohol-free parade with added security. We've had wonderful cooperation over the years from the aldermen, all the aldermen, from the city, from the mayor, from OEMC, from the police. I mean, they've worked wonderfully with us over the years, and we're really proud and to publicly say that. No one told us to say that. And that's pretty much it. I can only say that we're looking forward to a great parade, and I guess I will introduce Christopher from the Northalsted Business Alliance.
Good afternoon. The Northalsted Business Alliance represents more than 100 businesses in the Boys Town neighborhood. As an organization, we host numerous special events and festivals, including Chicago Pride Fest, to be held this weekend. Our long-standing commitment to providing safe, beautiful, and fun environments for visitors and neighbors alike is a hallmark of all of our events. This weekend will be no exception. Operating a large-scale festival takes an overarching commitment to public safety. Our extensive planning and coordination with the 19th District, OEMC, and a full complement of private security underscores our efforts towards making safety a priority for all festival goers and the neighborhood at large. As Pride celebrants join us this weekend, we ask for patience as they pass through festival gates. We will activate express entry for those not bringing bags into the festivals. For this reason, we encourage people to leave their bags at home. Similar to previous years, we will request a $10 donation at the entry. This donation not only helps fund many neighborhood improvements and beautification projects, but it's also allocated towards security initiatives throughout the festival season and the year. Most importantly, this weekend is about coming together to celebrate Pride. While our hearts remain heavy from the devastating loss suffered by our family in Orlando, we as a community know that fear is never the answer. At the start of this Pride Month, we adopted a call to action that has now taken on even more poignant meaning. It's your story, take pride. We are urging the community and our allies to share their collective history and their personal stories of pride, love, and friendship via social media through the hashtag #OurStory. While 49 lives and 49 proud stories were tragically lost this week, we must use our voices now more than ever to demonstrate that pride speaks louder than hate, louder than bigotry, and louder than violence. Like the beautiful rainbow that is the symbol of our community's diversity, this weekend we will celebrate all stories of pride. We will honor those 49 incredible stories lost, and we will raise our collective voices in celebration of not only pride, but more importantly, of life. Thank you.
Ready for some questions?
Do you have, you said the number has gone down from entries from 215 to 160. Is that this year, and is any of that reduction tied specifically to Orlando, or was this decision made before?
That was the decision that we worked with Rich Pfeiffer and his organization a couple weeks ago, so that's something that was established a couple weeks ago.
Are these security checkpoints or bags to be checked there? How's that going to work?
Well, in terms of security checkpoints, we will have those. We're not going to limit people bringing items in, but we are going to ensure that the people that come into the event is safe. So we're going to secure it the best we can.
Is that
Talk
new?
about the
Is that
difficulties that you face specifically with the parade, the way it's set up? It's got to be difficult, I would think, to monitor a crowd along the entire parade route.
Well, we have different assets that's going to be deployed throughout that parade route to ensure the safety of everybody.
is the security checkpoints, is that a direct result of Orlando?
No, that's just something we typically do for large scale events.
Can you talk about something specific that changed because of what happened in Orlando, something that changed last minute?
Well, we don't want to give our playbook out, but just suffice it to say that we are, the Orlando incident is of great concern to us. At this moment, we have no credible threats or intelligence that would suggest to us that there's going to be some issues, but we always take these incidents under consideration and do the best we can in terms of security.
Can you talk about, has there been any discussions with among local business owners? Has any decisioning happened, not at a festival, but at a private club? Have you CPD, the other agencies, have you coordinated with local business owners and talked about any extra security they should consider or anything like that?
So, sorry, if I may, Christopher Barrett Politan again from Northalsted Business Alliance. So, we have throughout the summer season, beginning in mid-May through the middle of October rather, we activate private security every Friday and Saturday evenings. Almost all of our bars have their own security details every weekend. We've encouraged our member businesses who serve our community to reach out and to share their stories, and to share their stories broadly with media outlets, and to extend their best practices, far and wide.
But is there anything that you're doing differently because of what has just happened?
We will have additional security, private security, on hand during the festival. We also have additional security our Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evenings this coming weekend.
Superintendent, can you talk a little bit about manpower? I know you're not going to give us the correct numbers, but compared to previous years, how many more? Are you going to have more officers, officers in off duty? How are you handling it?
So in terms of security for the parade, well, just in a general sense, let me digress for a moment too. The commander of the 19th district did talk to the business owners in the community about additional security measures that we want to take, so I just want to get that out there. But we do have a few hundred more officers that we're going to deploy to the event, just to try to ensure its safety.
You mentioned some are going to be in civilian clothes.
We'll have civilian dress officers, bike patrols, the usual assets that we have in large-scale events.
We have two more questions, guys.
Are there special problems that the festival presents? Because with a parade, you've got a defined route and people are moving along that, but the festival is more a neighborhood thing. Is it harder to?
I wouldn't characterize it as being harder. We may be spread out a little bit more, but I don't think it's harder to secure that than it would be the parade itself.
Last question.
This is off topic, I'm so sorry, but just a quick question. There was a video, Antonio Perkins, 28 years old in North Lawndale.
We'll address that, and this is
Talking
really
after,
private,
okay.
yeah.
Just to make sure we
Out
have
of respect for this and that. All right, thanks, guys.